Hello, I am Aviva reporting live in Jerusalem from room 552 for Israel 24/6 TV. Today is the 29th of June, 2008. Welcome to this edition of Fact Not Commentary with breaking news released this afternoon concerning the prisoner exchange whose details were worked out and will possibly be implemented. That implementation was approved today by the government of the sovereign state of Israel. Just shortly ago, before 5:30 this evening, an official government announcement communicated by the Prime Minister's media advisor was forwarded to the government press office and released for publication to foreign journalists here in Israel. It states, and I quote, "The government today, Sunday, 29/6/08, approved the outline for the agreement on releasing the abducted soldiers in Lebanon. The abducted soldiers, Ehud Goldwasser and Eldad Regev, will be returned to Israel. A report on the disappearance of Ron Arad in continuation of Government Decision 978 from the 9th of November 2003 will be delivered to Israel, and remains from the Second Lebanon War will also be received. In exchange for the return of the abducted soldiers, the State of Israel will release prisoners and detainees being held in its prison facilities and will transfer bodies and information as follows. Prisoner Samir Kuntar and 4 illegal Lebanese fighters being held by Israel will be released to Lebanon. The bodies of dozens of infiltrators and terrorists, including 8 members of Hezbollah, will be delivered to Lebanon. Information on the 4 missing Iranian diplomats will be delivered to UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon." End quote. The communique continues by saying that after the exchange is implemented, that Arab prisoners will be released. The number and identities of the prisoners will be determined at the sole discretion of the sovereign state of Israel. And furthermore, the announcement states, and I quote, "Mr. Ofer Dekel, the official responsible for the negotiations on behalf of Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, will continue the process of implementing the negotiations according to the principles detailed in this decision. The government will hold an additional discussion in order to complete and implement the agreement according to the principles detailed in this decision. The government of Israel reiterates and confirms its obligation to exhaust all that is required in order to obtain credible and solid information that will shed light on the fate of Israel Air Force navigator Captain Ron Arad. At the same time, the government of Israel reiterates and confirms its commitment to continue acting for the release of Corporal Gilad Shalit. The government of Israel will not slacken in its efforts to locate and bring home the missing and those Israeli soldiers whose resting place is unknown." End quote. And for those listeners who read the Jerusalem Post, you are all cordially invited to check back later this week for my comments concerning the editorial of Caroline Glick about this prisoner exchange. That editorial appeared in the Jerusalem Post last Friday when the prisoner exchange was expected. And that concludes this edition of Fact Not Commentary. I am Aviva reporting live in Jerusalem from room 552 for Israel 24/6 TV. May the Almighty help this present inhabited world. Thank you, and Shalom.